Now, just to underscore that point a little bit more, there's this obese gentleman who has very openly devoted his entire life to Israel, named Randy Fine. He says that people call him the Hebrew Hammer, but in fact, he really calls himself that. And he became a member of Congress when he ran. I always forget, it's either the seat that Matt Gaetz vacated when he resigned from Congress when President Trump nominated him as Attorney General, or the seat that Mike Waltz vacated in Florida, northern Florida, when he became Donald Trump's national security advisor. I think it was Mike Waltz's seat. And he won because President Trump endorsed him as an America First candidate, even though the only country he actually cares about is Israel. And everything he's doing in Congress is about serving Israel, of course. And part of serving Israel now is that you don't defend Israel explicitly all the time because people are onto that game. They don't want to hear a defense of Israel. So it's become, instead, the code for defending Israel is to get everybody to just constantly attack Muslims because they're perceived as Israel's enemy. And if people are attacking Muslims, they're not talking about the power of the pro-Israel lobby and why our country is so captured by the interest of Israel, while we pay for their military, while we go to war for them, while we deploy our troops every time and put them in harm's way every time Israel has a new war, why our politicians make pilgrimages there. Notice they're not doing that to Muslim countries. We haven't fallen to the Muslims. And that is why Randy Fine is doing what he's doing. So he had been praising Israel. That really doesn't work anymore. People don't want to hear about Israel, especially in the American right. Their view is, look, we're Americans. We don't want to keep having to think about that country. So now the kind of op has become just trying to get Americans to do anything possible to get their minds off Israel and the pro-Israel lobby and get it onto hating Muslims. So that's what Randy Fine, that's what all the people who are part of the Israel lobby are now doing. And here was Randy Fine on X earlier today. Someone posted this video of Muslims who were praying at 5 a.m. on the streets of Brooklyn. I honestly don't know why they decided that this video was somehow offensive or indicative of what they called savagery and barbarism. I mean, they're literally just Muslims who live in Brooklyn who peacefully just got together for 2 minutes at 5 a.m. to pray to God, which the First Amendment guarantees your right to do, the free exercise of religion. And yet, let's show that video and then we'll show what Randy Fine said about it. Because maybe that's like 60, 80, I don't know, 100 Muslim men on a prayer mat at 5 a.m. And they got on their knees, apparently a very Muslim community. They're, in Brooklyn, ethnic groups dominate various communities. There are Jewish communities, there are Black communities, there are Asian communities, there are Muslim communities, there always have been. I lived in New York for 15 years. I mean, this is how New York City has always been organized. And then a lot of people live in predominantly ethnic neighborhoods, and then it intermingles throughout the entire day. That's one of the things that makes New York City so unique and I think so interesting. But in any event, I mean, you could probably find a video of Muslims doing something more threatening than getting on their knees and bowing and praying. But that was the video that Randy Fine decided to post. Then here's what he said about this in trying to get people to think that Muslims are their enemy. Let's put that tweet on the screen. He said, "The barbarians are no longer outside the gate, they're inside. This is happening in Brooklyn, New York. America must wake up now." What is happening in Brooklyn, New York? There are Muslims in Brooklyn and they're praying. Why is that threatening? Could somebody honestly tell me that? I mean, I know people will say like, oh, in Europe, there are these grooming gangs or whatever. And we can talk about who's committing what crimes, but there are no grooming gangs in New York. That isn't happening in the United States. And if it is, we find the individuals who rape or who murder, regardless of what their ethnicity is, and we put them in prison. If you could prove that like Jews commit disproportionate amounts of financial fraud or financial crimes or pedophilia, You don't start saying, oh, get all these Jews out of our country, because that's how we judge people. And these are not people who have been led into the country and are just kind of guests. They're people who are citizens of the country. And so what I found so interesting about that, this Randy Fine saying, look at what's going on in Brooklyn. These barbarians are on our street with all their religious gear praying, is that if you've ever been to Brooklyn, one thing you know, and because it's visible, is that there are several communities, Crown Heights in particular, but there are several now, that are basically exclusively Orthodox Jews. And they want it that way. They want to have their own community, only Orthodox Jews. They dress in accordance with the views of Orthodox Jewry. Some of them are even more Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox. They have their own schools. They separate themselves from society. And for whatever you might think of that video that Randy Fine posted saying, look, these barbarians, we have to wake up now. Like, wake up to what? Here's also something that happens in Brooklyn.
Amazing. I'm looking right over here. This section, looking right over here, please. Fantastic. There we are. One's doing great. Looking right over here. Amazing. Looking right over here. This section right over here. Looking right over here.
Now, I react to that video the same way I reacted to the one that Randy Fine posted. I don't see anything threatening about that. These are religious people dressed in religious clothing, peacefully congregating on the streets to pray or to organize or to gather. It's like a once a year meeting of ultra-Orthodox where they come from all over the world as part of an organization, but you can go anywhere and see huge numbers of Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn at any time gather on the street in exactly the way those Muslims were. But like I said, if somebody had said what Randy Fine said, but posted that video, the video that I found and posted today on top of his video, instead of posting the video that he posted, how many seconds would elapse before he was expelled from the Republican Party? And I think that's the key point. All this uproar over Nick Fuentes with Ted Cruz and the Heritage Foundation and Lindsey Graham and whomever saying, oh, these people can't be in our movement, they're racist. That isn't their problem. They don't care if they're racist. Randy Fine is a racist pig in every fiber of his gigantic body. This Valentina Gomez, when you can understand what she's saying, expresses the purest kinds of racism and bigotry. That's so un-American. And nobody ever suggests in the Republican Party, like, wow, these people seem like they may. Trump endorsed Randy Fine. Nick Fuentes' crime, Tucker Carlson's crime for that matter, is not that they're racist or bigots. It's that they talk about the influence and power of the one group you're not allowed to speak about. You can speak about as disparagingly as you want about any other group of people, except this one group, where not only can you just speak disparagingly about them, not only where there is anger about so-called bigotry, but it's a hair trigger sensitivity, where even Ms. Rachel, the primary school teacher, is considered bigoted and anti-Semite because she believes that Palestinian children are human as much as their counterparts 20 miles away in Israel. And that's what's going on in conservative politics. And this Valentina Gomez, I hope she doesn't win, but I hope she becomes more and more visible, because it becomes utterly irreconcilable to explain how she isn't a bridge too far, but Nick Fuentes is.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.